Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video I have 5 more tips to help you improve on Football Manager 24. Let's do it. The first tip is going to be around your tactics. So let's, for example, say you are just training a new tactic or you've changed something slightly inside your tactics. For example, this one here, I have now just changed a few different roles and it's changed from balanced to fluid in the team fluidity. Now what that means is now it's changed on my tactical familiarity if I hover over that little button there, and now it says my creative freedom is only at about 60-65%, right? Everything else was sort of full, but that's changed, and I want to get that up as far as possible, as quick as possible. So what you can do for that is, after you've found out which area it is that you need work on, like for me it's creative freedom, for you maybe passing style or tempo or trigger press, whatever, what you can do then is you go into your training, you go into your calendar, and you find the week you're on, or whichever week. You can go in the future if you want, if you need a lot of help. So for example, this one here, I'm going to go into general, and then we're going to go through all these things, and we're going to see which ones affect the ones. So for example, attacking for me here, primary focus, and it's tactical familiarity, creative freedom. So I want to put a lot of attacking into my training. Possession does things like passing style and tempo, which makes sense. Defending will do trigger press and marking, so if you're lacking on that area. Tactical will do your mentality, width, and your role and duty, so if you're missing those ones. So just go into the general tab on training and go through each one and see which ones you need in your tactic at the start, and then just stick a bunch of these in a couple of weeks, and it should, by that time, at the end of it, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or whatever, you should have a full tactic again with your tactical familiarity full, and then your team will play a lot better, right? They'll know your tactic better, they'll know exactly what you want, and results should improve. My second tip on today's video is going to be about your condition and resting players. So for example, I've just played Lazio in the quarterfinal of the Coppa Italia. We won 1-0, we're through to the semi-final, but now in 3 days time, as you can see at the top there, we've got Torino. Now you can see my players are tired. Some people need rest, and I do need to sort that out long term. But we've had a few difficult games. I needed them to play even the slightly tired. But even the players that aren't underlying tired, like Ratnik and Sohm, there's other players that really need a rest. But I'm going to show you the difference in those 3 days between not resting players and resting players, and you can see which is the difference. And if you don't use it, you can find that you'll actually be able to rotate a lot less and have a lot more consistent results. So I'm going to go straight forward and continue. I'm going to save it now, and I'm going to go forward to the Torino game and see the condition, and then I'm going to roll it back. I'm going to rest the players, and then I'm going to go to the start of the game again. I'm going to show you the difference between doing it. Because a lot of people say that you miss out on training and whatever, and you might do, but in tough runs of fixtures, especially in England, where it's like 46 game seasons, because a lot of you guys manage in England, resting players between them can save a lot of things. It can save injury, it can save loss of form, condition, results, morale, all these things. So here we are at the match day against Torino, and as you can see, the players are quite tired. Now, rightfully so, they should be tired because they've had no rest. We've got a player there lacking match practice, which is more my fault than the game because he's just come in for a player I've just sold. Ratnik there is a little jaded, could do with the rest. Sakati is tired as well. Alex Valla, my left back, is suspended, so I can't play him anywhere. But if he wasn't suspended, then I would have had to rest him because he's also tired. Folorunsho hasn't got a full green heart. It's like a light green, but he's still match fit, but he'll tire a bit quicker. Simon Sohm's also tired. And the front four as well, again, like Folorunsho, they're not fully green, like these greens down here on the bench, but they're light green, they're match fit enough, but they will tire around the 65th, 70th mark. So, now I'm going to show you what happens after I rest. Well, I'm going to show you how to rest if you don't know how to do it, or what I do, and then I'm going to show you the difference between that and what I do. So, let's do it. Right, so we've rewound, and we're now back at the minute after we've just beaten Lazio, 3 days before the Torino game, and as you can see, the players are still as tired. Now, what I do after this happens, after a game of these 3 days, as soon as I see the 3 days or 4 days of the next to the next game, I do this. So I just scroll down there, and I just rest, right click, training, rest, and I do 2 days. Right, I do 2 days when there's a 3 game gap, and if there's a 4 game gap, I'll do 1 day because you need less rest if there's more days between games. So I do 2 days. Now after that, obviously they're all rested. Probably didn't need to do it to Alex Valla because he's suspended anyway, but I'm just going to do it anyway for the purposes of the video. And then now, again, I'm going to go forward 3 days and you're going to see the difference. So this is the result of getting players rested up. So this time, we have one player who's tired, and that's Simon Sohm, because he's been tired for a while. So I probably do need to rest him anyway, like I said before. But this time, there's only one tired player, and the other players that were still on the lighter green heart have now got a full green heart. And as you can see now, I don't really need to swap any players. Obviously, I do with Valor, but he was tired before, and now he's not. He's match fit. Marcel Ratnik is also match fit, and he had an orange little symbol next to him that said he needed to be rested like Simon Soam. So this guy has actually recovered quite well. He's now match fit and fully ready. Obviously, his match load is heavy, and his overall risk of injury is higher, so you guys might want to rest for that case. But if you just wanted to play your best team, in like there's maybe you've got 3 or 4 games in a row where you need all your best players to have a chance at promotion or whatever, just consider resting the players. Like I said, it works very well, as you can see. Now I would only have to rest probably. I don't even need to rest Simon Soam because he will still perform quite well. He's a good player anyway. But we're only playing Torino, so I should play him. But if I was playing, for example, AC Milan after the Lazio game, I would probably keep him in and then maybe sub him off at around 70 mark. But if I was tired like before, I wouldn't have even got away with him from the start. It would be tired by half time. So just have a think about that. You don't have to use it. Another thing I will say is if there's 4 days between a game, so for example, there was 4 days between that game and this game, what I would have done is I'd gone to calendar and had a look at this. So for example, after the Lazio game there, let's just say, for example, for this example anyway, that Torino is on this day here, so there's 4 days between here. I would obviously want to rest them for 1 day, like I mentioned earlier. So I would probably I would let them do this day, I would let them get their recovery in and the match review, and then I would wait until Friday 6th of February, and then I would rest them. Because I want them to get the recovery in as well as their rest. This next tip is going to save you a lot of time with headaches and obviously morale dropping, which is a really big important factor in FM, and it's to do with agreed playing time. Now, what I would suggest and recommend is, in your view of whatever you use on FM, mine's my own view, Lewis's main view, I have agreed playing time and then have their happiness around that playing time. So I can see if they're delighted, happy, satisfied, concerned, whatever, and I can keep a track on that, right? The thing to do, though, and I've already done it on this save, but there is an example I've just found anyway, so I'm going to show you that. I must have missed a player. But I do this a lot, and it's why I only have 2 star players. I have 4 important players, the rest regular starter, and then some squad players. And it's a nice balance, and I rarely get issues with playing time unless it's someone that's just not in form and I drop him or I buy someone else in, right? And that's just bound to happen sometimes. But for the main part, what you need to do is you need to keep and have a look at this, and just every so often go into either your star players or your important players or whoever you want, and just right click on them, go to squad, agreed playing time, and just see if you can change them down to important player, right? Now, don't click this message because then you will just do it and it will have consequences like that. Can you see the red writing? It says, Casper Tobias could become unhappy upon hearing that his agreed playing time has been reduced. It might be worth talking to him about the decision. Now, if you get rid of this, it will never show you it again unless you go and redo it in the preferences tab. And then it will just become unhappy. You'll never get a warning about this. So I wouldn't do it. Maybe, I mean, you could ask him to accept the playing time, but that could go drastically wrong. I don't do that. You could do it if you're brave. That's absolutely fine. But if you get that message, I just then click no and just don't bother with it. But you can get a lot of players from regular starter to squad player, which is really key because if you're not using them currently, they won't moan as much and as fast, right? So, for example, in mine, I must have missed Popovic. Now, he's my starting striker and he's already set as a squad player. So that's absolutely fine by me because he's getting a lot, look, he's delighted because he's getting a lot more game time than he ever thought he would. But just to show you my example is if you click on Matthew Popovic, let's just say, for example, he was a regular starter right now because he is, and let's just say that's what he probably should be. But I go into the squad, I go into agreed playing time, and then I go, he's already at squad player, so I click impact sub, and as you can see there's no red writing, and I can get away with that. Now, what you might be able to get away with, like I said, is clicking on a player that's an important player or a regular starter, and you might be able to just move him down 1, and it'll give you guys a lot more time to get involved before they get annoyed and causing you a lot of problems. So just keep you on top of that and check every couple of months if you can move someone down. Maybe you're playing them a bit less and you want to move it down. They're more likely to accept that as well if they've got good personalities. So signing players with good personalities is a positive anyway, but it's an added bonus with tips like this. The next tip is around player contracts and a way to save you guys a lot of money and again, a lot of headache. So we've got Tobias Gullikson here and he's got 2 years left on his contract. I'm in no massive rush to extend his contract, but let's just say we were. Let's say he's running out soon, right? I'm going to discuss a new contract with his agent. The reason why I'm doing that is because we can have a look and we can maybe get his demands down. But if we go into enter contract negotiations, which a lot of people probably do without discussing it with their agent, you actually get a message around that and it says, you are about to enter contract negotiations with a player without discussing this with their agent. Are Are you sure you want to enter negotiations? And then it says it's best to discuss the new contract with the agent first to determine whether the player is willing to sign the contract and that what their demands are likely to be without potentially making the player and agent unhappy. Now, it won't make the player and agent unhappy, but the key part here is this. It is best to discuss the new contract with the agent first in order to determine whether the player is willing to sign it and what their demands are likely to be. And that is the main thing. So if we discuss the new contract with the agent, now we can see, you can say what you want. I'm slightly interested, I'm curious, I'm interested, whatever. I usually click the interested one, unless you're playing a bit hard to get, maybe you want to go through these two down here, or you're really interested and you want to make it known there. I don't want to make out I'm so keen because he'll probably up his demands. So I like to just say this one. So for a new contract, and remember he's on 17 grand a week, as you can see there. He now wants 28 to 35. Now, I'm not massively a fan of that. I'd like to make it, maybe give him 25 maximum. An £8,000 pay raise for an extra couple of years as a backup player would be quite nice. Now, he also wants to expect to provide competition for places and earn plenty of time over the course of the season. So he's probably going to want to be a squad player by the sounds of that, or even a fringe player. Now, let's say, for example, you've got a player that wants to be an important player, but you only see him maybe as a squad player. Now, you can do that as well, because what you can do is if you go down here and you can contest a few things. Let's say, for example, as well, if a player is wanting a minimum fee release clause locked in, you can actually say, wait. I don't want that locked in. I want to at least negotiate. So if one of your players is locking that in as a new contract and you're scared to lose them, actually, if you just have a little check down here, obviously, it's not in this one because Gullickson's not looking for that and his agent's not looking for that. But if you've got a player, like I said, that is wanting a release clause, you can actually go into this little menu here and there will be a message about it. And you can say, right, no, I actually want everything to be out on the table, nothing locked in. And they don't always agree to it, depending on the type of agent. But sometimes they do, and you can get away with it. And you can take it off. You can give him maybe 5-10 extra grand a week, and you can get that release clause out of there, no problem. Also, like I said, you can get the wage demands down. So, for example, this one, I think you're asking for too much and would encourage you to be more realistic. Now, there straight away, he's gone from asking for 28 grand to 35 to 25 and 31. So I was happy with the lower end of that, 25,000. So there you can say, I'm still not sure about the likely demands, or you can say, that's great, and then we can go and do the contract. Like I said, not everyone alters their demands. Sindra Khalil here has done. He's got a friend relationship with me. That probably does help, as well as his personality, because each agent has their personality. If you go into a player's agent's page, you'll see what they're likely to do and what they're likely to be. Some are really patient, some are really impatient, some are looking for their players to stay at the club, some are looking to move players on all the time, obviously, because they're greedy. But that is a nice little tip for you guys. There's a lot of scope of things to do inside this menu, so give it a try, give it a whirl, and save yourself some money and headaches. The next tip is around the contracts as well. So obviously we've just spoken to the agent, like in the last tip. We've had a look at everything like that, see what he wants. And now what we're going to do, first of all, what I like to do is I get to get rid of promises, especially things like players played in a position and role. I like to see what tactics we're using, not the players. They won't decide that. We're going to get rid of that, no problem. The next thing is on this screen. If you see the contract start date here and it says immediate, also you can click end of season, and there's 4 months difference between there. If you make them sign this new contract, but it only starts here at the end of the season, you actually get 4 months pay, 4 months left of the season on his previous pay, on his current pay, should I say. And then this new contract that you're going to give him, let's say it's a key player, it's not Gullickson, let's say it's someone going from 20 grand and maybe he now wants 50. Actually, you can save 30 grand a week by changing this to end of season for 4 months, and that is a lot of money, right? How much is that? 30 grand times 420. 120 times 4 is 480. You have saved nearly $500,000 in just literally, what, 2 clicks of a button. How good's that? That's the last tip, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, leave a like on the video and a subscription on the channel. Have a good Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.